What's up, everybody? It's KB. The Whole podcast is presented by our awesome partners over at Wasted Wedge, and a new age of golf has arrived. And if you are looking to be the talk and envy of your group and create memories with your friends and family, look no further than the lineup of Wasted Wedge products and merchandise. These Wasted Wedges are a blast to drink shots out of on and off the course. I want you to think your traditional shot ski that people were lugging around at your college parties and all over the place, and how difficult they were to store, how difficult they were to transport. Wasted Wedge is revolutionizing it. It's now a golf club. It's a wedge. It's compactable, can go right into the side pocket of a golf bag. You have extenders, and it's all plastic cups, so there's no hot glue. There's no glass that you actually have to use. They're the best in the game, and they're revolutionizing the way you're taking shots on and off the course. They're a blast, and you need to check them out. Go to wastedwedge.com. Check out all of the products that they have to offer, from the actual Wasted Wedges themselves to apparel that they have to the extenders and everything in between, to be the talk of your party, be the talk of your golf outing. And you can find them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge. Be sure to follow them. Make sure you're letting them know that you're coming from the Get in the Hole podcast and Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's wastedwedge.com, and find them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge. Remember the name, wastedwedge.com.
Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, your number one stop for all things in the world of golf. Watch and subscribe anywhere you get your favorite shows on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, and more. Just search Get in the Hole. Get in the Hole is the official golf pod of the Underground Sports Philadelphia family of podcasts. Now let's get right into the action. Here's your hosts, Steve McAvoy and Ben Pirro.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
So the one thing that everyone's talking about this past week, headphones are going crazy. The legacy of Michelle Wie. We talked about this a little bit off camera, probably like earlier in the week before the U.S. Women's Open. She had retired this past week, finished out her career, and you had some pretty interesting takes on what her legacy really is in both the LPGA circles and then also in the overall landscape of golf. I had made the argument that, well, because she was such a sought after commodity as a female athlete, first of all, in the mid 2000s, and then when you think about it, like the mid 2000s were really, it was essentially the Williams sisters that were really kind of the only premier female athletes in the space, and then Michelle Wie came in. The LPGA wasn't given nearly as much love as the PGA Tour, considering at that point they had a young Rory McIlroy, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, and the like, overtaking things. But Michelle Wie was just taller, better, and stronger than everybody. Kind of like what Rose Zhang is sort of now, even though the leveling playing field of the LPGA is much stronger now than it ever was back then. But you had a alternate take. I want you to air your opinion here, and we can kind of debate this for a little bit.
Yeah, so look, I think professional athletes, when they retire, they should be celebrated. I just feel, and I said this off camera, literally 5 minutes ago, the way people are treating her retirement is a lot like how people treated Tony Romo's retirement. Tony Romo won 2 playoff games. That's what he won. You know, and everybody was like in tears when he retired, even though he really didn't do a whole lot. And I'm not trying to discount his career. I mean, he was a very good quarterback, but Michelle Wie only won 5 tournaments, and one of them was a U.S. Open. You know, I don't really understand why. Look, congratulations to her. She had a good career. She definitely didn't live up to the hype, that's for sure. I think everybody would agree with that who has, like, you know, I don't know, like, who actually understands the sport. But I don't understand why people are so like, oh my gosh. I don't really understand why people are getting, I don't want to say emotional. I don't really know what the right word is, but I feel like there are athletes who retire who have a similar number of accolades, relative from sport to sport, or even in her sport, that don't get nearly the amount of love that she's getting. That's kind of my gripe with it. You know, I don't really understand, and I'm not a Michelle Wie hater at all. I mean, I don't know, I'm just like kind of like indifferent about her. Like, you know, I feel like, honestly, to be honest, the thing that when someone tells me, if someone asks me, like, what makes you, when you think of Michelle Wie, what do you think of? I'd be like, the bizarre posture that she used to putt when she won the U.S. Open. It was like the tabletop. Yeah, the tabletop setup. That's what I think of. It's kind of like with Odell Beckham. It's like, what do you think of with Odell? It's like the one-handed catch and like the white powdery substance with the French model in France. That's what I think of.
Not the boat pick.
Oh, I forgot about that
one. I mean, look, on the bright side, Michelle Wie wasn't on a boat with Trey Songz smoking a joint. So like there's positives and negatives here. Now, I think the thing about Michelle Wie, and you're right, she really didn't live up to the hype. And when you look at, and we were too young to really understand, A, watch, and B, understand the powerfulness that Annika Sorenstam had on the LPGA. Obviously, 72 career wins on the LPGA Tour. Is that the record? I believe it might be. Third all time. Like, absolute legend of the game. Won 4 majors. Won all 4 majors. I think she has 10 in her career. Like, those things make her one of the greatest ever. And I think she got her well-deserving send-off. And she's still appreciated now. Solheim Cup captain for multiple years. She's been an advocate now for over the past 10. I think, though, that's the biggest thing about Michelle Wie is the advocacy part that's kind of become her bread and butter. Yeah, she won only 5 events in her career, and she was like she had been sponsored exempt for, I think, 3 PGA Tour events, and she was like the third woman ever to play in a PGA Tour event. Obviously, you could debate the sustenance of sponsor exemption versus actually making the field. Different story. But I think as an advocate for the LPGA, I think that's kind of where her legacy really falls. And you saw over the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, the Women for Golf campaign. They had a whole thing. I have the hoodie. Players bought the hoodie. It's the like tie-dye pink and blue LPGA hoodie. So like those things I think matter. Where as a organization like the LPGA and like all women's sports, I don't get enough appreciation. Like the WNBA, even like professional softball, which doesn't even get any sort of a look. For the most part, most professional women's leagues do not get any sort of appreciation, and there's obviously the clear issues that have been paramount between wage gaps and all those things that have been addressed by like the women's national soccer team and by the WNBA. But I think Michelle Wie has really become that person in terms of she'll have a legacy not for her play, but what she's done outside of the course and out in the field working with the league. I think that's kind of where her legacy really does. And look, she's still young. She's 33 years old. She's retiring to be a mom. Will she come back? Maybe. She'll probably play every now and then. And because again, I think the real reason why she's retiring is to be a full-time mother and to live her life. And at 33, when you've been playing since 2004, since you were 16 years old, like kind of crazy to think about. That's another thing too with these LPGA players. I saw a stat like Lexi Thompson last week played in I think her 17th straight U.S. Women's Open. She's like 29. Like she's been playing this event since she was 12. Like those. That's kind of crazy to me. That the longevity of the sport. It's so long, but it's so short in the sense of you start so young and you end young. It isn't like Tiger Woods who came out at 20 years old and plays till he's 50. It isn't like that. But yeah, long story short, I think that's kind of where Wie's legacy is compared to someone like Annika Sorenstam, who on the course was just this legend walking, basically the Tiger Woods of the LPGA for the last 25 years.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
yeah, right. There really it isn't much more to debate there. And look, you can debate the idea of what you do off the course as opposed to on the course, like what matters the most. I mean, like at the end of the day, take somebody like Tiger Woods or even Phil or Rory, right? Are we going to know Rory McIlroy in 20 years for what he did in defending the PGA Tour against LIV? Because really kind of ruined his career to a degree. Like it absolutely ruined everything he had for about 3 years.
Well, let me put it this way, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
People are always going to, obviously take the accolades away, right?
Yeah.
Just take them away. The 15 majors Tiger won. How many has Phil won? 5?
6.
That's so embarrassing. I don't even know how. That just shows I'm not a.
All right. The shit on Phil podcast is gonna be next week.
Anyway, regardless though, take all those accolades away: Player of the Year, Tour Championships, the FedEx Cups that Tiger won, majors. Tiger's going to be forever remembered for increasing PGA Tour purses.
Yeah,
that's what he's going to be remembered for doing. Because before that, the purses sucked. They were terrible. And Phil, it's well documented. It's well documented. He has some issues that he's had to work on. If it wasn't for Phil, we wouldn't be talking about golfers getting paid even more money, right? So we kind of owe those guys a lot. Rory, it's like he just sounds like an idiot because he is an idiot. He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
I wouldn't say he's an idiot. I just think I think the common thread with Rory that you and I both share is the fact that he put too many eggs into one basket, and that was at least over the last 3 years trying to defend and like be the man of the house while Tiger was away, and like he put too much emphasis on that as opposed to focusing on his golf game. And over the last 3 years, aside from him defending the PGA Tour against LIV, I'm going to most know him for that one event where he tore his shirt off and like tore it to pieces after he like 3-putted the last hole and like lost the event by 2 strokes. Like those are like the dumb things. Like Phil Mickelson, I'm gonna remember him for. There's a lot of like good things that you can remember Phil for, but like if you want to talk about the bad things, like the defection to LIV, or when Phil tried to make the button-down dress shirt a thing in golf, that's the biggest fuck up of his career. I'm sorry. That like joking, but like again, joking aside, all these guys are remembered for something. I think Michelle Wie does deserve the credit that she does get, despite the fact that she couldn't live up to the hype that everybody else who had this kind of GOAT status thrown upon them at 14 years old, 15 years old, was kind of able to achieve.
All right, number one. Anybody who rips their shirt like that is an idiot. In a public setting, okay? It was pretty public. I mean, if someone can see you from the public through a window with your shirt ripped, like you're an idiot. Number two, I should try to bring the button-down shirt in because it's easier to take off. Number three.
They're just so gross. Like, why? Then he's
easier to take off when you see us celebrate with the boys.
And like he exclusively wore them in black and white, like just so bland.
Not the most fashionable human being.
No.
And then, but really, like obviously, like Tiger and Phil are going to be remembered for their on-course accolades. I was just saying, aside from all of that, with the tour or like. Against the touring, I guess in Phil's case, what are they going to be known for? That's really what, obviously, Tiger, the scandal and the crashing his Cadillac, that's something pretty notable. Phil, insider trading, like, everybody has their demons, but yeah.
I mean, look, you know what? At the end of the day, I like, here, tearing your shirt or throwing a golf club. I mean, like, that's kind of two very different things, but I feel like the golf etiquette side, like you throw your golf club, like you kind of look like a dick.
Everybody has their golf clubs. I've thrown my golf clubs.
I know you.
That's for sure. That's like a whole level.
That's true. Level. Yeah. To be pissed off enough to like tear it. First of all, dry fit shirts are also hard to rip. Like they're pretty taut.
Well, maybe for you, but
all right, Ben. On that note, let's shut this show. Welcome into the Getting the Whole podcast. Stephen McAvoy, Ben Pirro here. Another week on the PGA Tour and brought to you by our friends over at Wasted Wedge. A new era in golf has arrived. Take the Wasted Wedge on course, off course, wherever you want, from the first tee to the 18th green, and then, of course, the 19th hole as well. Wasted Wedge using their own technology of Literally, shot glasses on a wedge, nothing better. Compact, easy to transport. Folks, remember the name, wastedwedge.com. Ben, the John Deere Classic this week, as I took my hiatus last week, I want to just give a quick shout out to Ricky Fowler. I didn't get a chance to congratulate him last week. I love you so much. Thank you for cashing in my my bet that I placed literally 5 minutes before I said Ricky Fowler would win the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Unfortunately, my bet this week did not play. I had Denny McCarthy winning. He wound up coming just short. Actually, he blew up on the last day. Yeah. Shot a final round 70. It was like he was T2 to begin the day, and then he dropped all the way out. But
he blew up with a 70. Oh my god!
All right. Well, all right. This is a point that I was gonna make after we discussed how Sepp Straka won this past week. But Cameron Young and Ludwig Aberd both shot a final round or third round 71, which is par at Deere Run. For moving day, I'm calling it a blow up when the rest of the field averaged a scoring average of a 65. Averaged a 65. Like that. That's like your blow up. If you're shooting a 70 at Deere Run, where the course is literally the course was created to shoot 20 under par every single week. So the fact that he just came up just short is a little fortunate.
What'd they shoot?
What?
What'd they shoot? Where'd they finish?
Aber shot a 266, so he finished T4 at 18 under, and Young shot a 268. Yeah, finished T6.
So 16 and 18 under?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's nothing to scoff at. Come on, Steven.
I'm just saying for the betting pockets, it doesn't really work. But Sepp Straka is now the owner of a brand new tractor. Jumped 13 spots to final round 62 after beginning the week with a first round 2 over to win the John Deere Classic. Jumps all the way up into the top 25 of the FedEx Cup standings and gets his first win of the season, second career win, and second win in as many years as he's been an official member of the PGA Tour, winning last year at the Honda Classic and now this year at Deere Run. What a performance for Sepp Straka. And these events I want to point out because there really isn't much to talk about, let's be honest, as we kind of push towards the Open next week. A lot of these events that happen now at this point in the calendar, the Rocket Mortgage, it kind of falls into it because it's a bit younger. But like Deere Run this week at the Barbasol, the alternate event to the Scottish Open. And then a few others following on, like the 3M Open and the Barracuda as well, which happens during the Open, are really good like stepping stone events. I remember in years past, Bryson got his first career win here. Jordan Spieth got his first win here. I think Tiger won in his third ever event, which was at Deere Run. So a good stepping stone event, and Sepp Straka has shown that he is and is capable of being one of the best players in the world. He was one of the better players on the President's Cup team this past year. So I expect a lot more from Sepp Straka. Obviously, a final round 62 is great. He will, in fact, keep on pushing, earned his 500 points, earned his 1.3 million, and I think we'll be seeing him a lot more down the stretch, and can certainly make a bigger name for himself as he continues to play in these strong fields. And not for nothing, too. Like he's played quite well. He's had 4 top 10s this year. He's 27th, I think, in the official World Cup rankings. I could be very wrong, but he's in the top 30 area, and so yeah. Sorry, you were going to say something.
You said there was nothing to really cover. I mean, we have another major coming up, and
oh no,
I mean, we had the guy who won was a birdie away from shooting 59. That's only been done less than a dozen times ever on the PGA Tour. I mean.
You are right, yeah.
Talk about, I mean, Jesus, he was a birdie away from shooting 59, which is such a rarity as it is. I mean, only a select few get to shoot 59, have a chance of shooting 59. I mean, that was incredible. Obviously, he made double, which, it stings because you're playing so well, and I'm assuming he must have hit his ball in the water, his second shot in the water, right? That's probably what happened. That's so easy to do on that hole, especially when it's like, yeah, I need birdie for 59. Like, hell yeah, maybe I'm going to go with that pin, even though I probably shouldn't. Like, I think
Congratulations to Sepp Straka. That was a fantastic performance. What makes it so incredible is he came back at an event where it's really hard to come from behind. And that, yeah, like it was. I said to KB, I was like, you would think it's like usually like the last group or the second to last group. I think that's what I said last week. And I mean, he just came out of nowhere, to be, I'm assuming it's a par 72. Is it a par 72? 71? I can't hear you. Okay. Your lips are moving, but I can't hear you. So it's a par 71.
I was for some reason muted. Okay.
So it's a par 71. He was 11 under through 17 holes. That's called golfing your ball on a course where it's really hard to win when you're not within the last two groups.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard. So hats off to him. Great win. He's in great shape heading into the Open and the FedEx Cup playoffs now. Good for him.
Can you name, at least in the last 10 years, all of the players to shoot 59 or better?
On the PGA Tour?
Yeah, in the last 10 years.
Oh, man. Last 2023, 2013. Jim Furyk. I know he shot at the Travelers.
Actually, Furyk did it twice. He shot the all-time low of 58 at the Travelers in 2016. Also shot 59 at the 2013 BMW.
I mean, I don't watch golf, so I don't know. But I know Ryo Ishikawa shot 58 on the Japan tour. I think it was. I think he shot 58 on the Japan tour.
Damn, that's a pretty good one for a guy who doesn't watch golf. To throw that name out is pretty impressive.
Well, no, that was bad. Like I was so young. That's like when I really watched golf. Now I don't watch it anymore. Really. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean,
I'll give you a couple of hints. 2020 Northern Trust at TPC Boston. This player shot 59 in the second round. He's a top 10 golfer in the world right now.
John Rahm.
No.
Wasn't Rory, was it?
No.
I don't think so. Right now? Cantley?
No, he was a rookie this year.
Wait, I'm so confused. Wait, he was a rookie this year, but he played the 2020 Northern Trust?
No, like a rookie in 2020.
Oh, he's a rookie in 2020. Scheffler?
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler.
Wow, I didn't even know he shot 59. Damn.
2018 Wyndham Championship. He actually won the event in 2018.
What round was it?
First round.
Ooh. 2018. I couldn't tell you. Let's just move on. I don't know. I don't know anything about golf trivia.
All right. Justin Thomas, Jim Furyk, Adam Hadwin, Brant Snedeker is the guy who won at the Wyndham, and then Kevin Chappell.
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 Don't do that.
And then prior to them was Stuart Appleby, Paul Goydos, David Duval, Chip Beck, and Al Geiberger back in 1977.
Nice. Awesome.
Crazy how Jim Furyk shot 58 and didn't win the event. That's wild.
I feel like that was kind of like on par for his later years on the PGA Tour, though. Like he was always, a lot of times he was so close, and he just didn't come through.
Well, so also interesting enough, when Jim Furyk shot 59 at the 2013 BMW, he finished third. So there have only been 4 players in history to shoot 59 or better and win the event.
Wow, wow. You would think it would be higher, but no, it's hard. Hey, it's hard to it's hard to follow up a good round like that.
That it is. Yeah, no, I'll totally give you that. 2 of the other betting plays that I had this week, speaking of the John Deere, Cameron Young and Ludwig Aberg. Obviously, Young's been around for about a year and a half now. Ludwig Aberg came up, 4 weeks ago. They both came up just short, entered in the final round at in a tie for 5th, had an opportunity to make something big happen. Young shot, I believe, a 4-under final round or a 3-under final round. Aberg actually made a nice shot, finished 9-under on the final day, finished 18 under T4, but both came just short of their first win. Despite the field that they were in, while it wasn't the strongest as everyone gets ready for the push to the Open, and most people traveled abroad this past week, how challenging is it for a guy, largely more for Cam Young than Aberg, considering he's only been on tour for about 4 weeks, but to come so close almost every single week, I feel, and to not be able to get that first win, and at least for Cameron Young's case, about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. What does that do to a player's mental? Like you're constantly there, but you can't get over the top.
I'm sorry. Are we talking about Aberg or Young?
Really both. More so for Cameron Young, being that he's been around for almost 2 years. Aberg, obviously, as a young player who has only been playing for 4 weeks, but has, I believe, 3 top 10s or 3 top 20s. Like a pretty crazy number to go out the gate out of college and just automatically be this top 20 machine already. What's it like, though, to be so close and be in it? Because for the past 3 weeks, they've entered the weekend top 5 or better, all 3, each of them, and have both managed to come up short. What does that do to a player's psyche? Is it a good thing knowing that you can still be there?
1 second. I just want to look something up before I answer this question. I just want to make sure I know what I'm talking about. All right.
Ben, you always know what you're talking about.
No, I don't. Even someone as Steven would say, pompous and arrogant as me even knows that. Okay.
All right. I never called you pompous.
You've implied it.
Maybe.
I could read through the lines.
That you can.
Okay, look. Let's lay off Aberg a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
He's in his event. He's kicking ass. Good for him. He's kicking ass, taking names. Good for him. Cameron Young, look. It's really hard to win. Ask Ricky Fowler. How long did it take Ricky Fowler to win on the PGA Tour? 2012, I think, was his first year. He won the 2012 Wells Fargo in a playoff against Rory and DA Points. And he made his pro debut in 2009.
Yeah.
So basically, because it was late 2009, you're looking at a little over 2.5 years it took him, right? And that was someone who was viewed as supremely talented and gifted, right? I don't really think people look at Cameron Young as in the same talent class as what Ricky Fowler was back then. Is that safe to say?
Yes and no. I think, and again, I think it's.
Let me put it this way: I don't think he gets the same amount of hype that Ricky Fowler got.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because of the personalities and how much of a draw Ricky was. Let me put it this way: for someone, look, I'm shocked Cameron Young hasn't won on the PGA Tour. I'm pretty surprised. But in Ricky Fowler's case, look how long it took him to win. 2.5 years. That's a long time. Everybody's like, when's he going to win? When are you going to win? When are you going to win? It's hard. I just think people need to just kind of people are not capable of doing this because it's just the world we live in. Just let these guys go play, and when they win, because it's a game where you lose more than you win. That's just how it is. And it's really difficult for anybody to have to grasp that. As a golfer, you're really you're satisfied if you play well. You get a top 20, you finish top, like this week at the Providence Open, I finished tied for 12. I was satisfied with that, but I was also disappointed. You're always going to be disappointed when you don't win. And golfers are generally more disappointed more often than not because you lose more than you win. Mm-hmm. So he's going to win. His psyche's fine. He's not like Matt Wolff. He's fine.
I think the interesting thing with Cameron Young, too, and we can use the comparative of him and Ricky. Ricky, first of all, back in 2009, the fields weren't as strong as they were now. And that's quite obvious. I mean, back then, and beating the dead horse, you probably had 7 or 8 guys every week who can go out and win. Now the number's probably bloated to about 25, 30, maybe 40 on some given weeks. I think Cameron Young's also had the caveat of he's had to live up to or basically fight against the hype that Will Zalatoris has gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's unfair because, and I'm not going to say that I loathe Will Zalatoris, but I'm a firm believer of if every part of your golf game is not strong, then you should not be a top 10 player in the world. And as somebody who literally cannot putt, I don't see Will Zalatoris in my eyes as a top 10 golfer in the world, even though he can ball strike his way and he can land 5 feet to the hole every single time. If you can't make 5-foot putts and you can't hit it from really anywhere, when you're the 128th ranked golfer in putting, there's a problem. I think Cameron Young is a better all-around player. He may have a little bit more of Cameron Young's bad shot is worse than Will Zalatoris's, but he could still get up and down and finish. This year, he's only got 2 missed cuts, which both happened at the Memorial and the PGA, 2 of the strongest fields of the year, on golf courses that he was not prepared to play on. He had hiccups on both of those weeks with travel and certain other issues. Otherwise, aside from his finish at the Travelers, I said no finish worse than 60th. He has 4 top 10s this year. He finished top 20 at the Century, at the Genesis, at the Arnold Palmer, at the Dell Match Technologies. He finished runner-up, 7th at the Masters. So he's a talented player. There's no doubt about it. But I think having to fight against the hype of Will Zalatoris, also being college teammates too, and knowing that, I played with him for 3 years and I know I can beat him. But you always have to kind of live in that shadow. It's kind of like what Phil Mickelson's dealt with Tiger Woods, right? Now, granted, we're not talking the 2 top players in the world, but Phil Mickelson always had to kind of live in Tiger's shadow. I feel like Cameron Young, because he's quieter and he isn't as outgoing and he isn't as flashy as Will Zalatoris is, I think that's kind of where he kind of gets his rap from. I think it's kind of unfair to critique Cameron Young in that kind of a way. So I can kind of see it mentally tolling on you a little bit. But again, like you said, let them go play. Let him get a win. He will probably get one this year. And even for Will Zalatoris, it took him a whole 2 years, I think, to get his first win. He got his first win at Southwind last year. I think he had. I don't know if he was a full-on rookie the year prior. He might have been, or it might have been an exemption for the remainder of the year. Whatever it happens to be. Still took him about 50 events to actually win his first event. And so Cameron Young will get there over time. And then I'm not even concerned with LIVGolf. This guy's a monster already, and I'm looking forward to what he could what he can achieve in the very near future.
Okay, good. Great. Awesome. One response to what you said.
Okay.
You drove me absolutely bonkers with your takes sometimes. The reason why Will Zalatoris, before his back just fell apart, unfortunately, I really hope he ends up being okay, because this is his second surgery, and that is incredibly scary on his back. He's so young too. I mean, that's horrifying. The reason why Zalatoris has had more success than Cameron Young, despite Zalatoris being the worst putter of the 2. Obviously, yes, he's an elite ball striker. But when you literally don't put the ball in trouble, that's why. So let me put it this way. Have you ever seen someone putt a ball out of bounds?
No.
Maybe John Mavelia. Other than him. Probably.
Wow. Just dig it.
Yeah. But I'm serious. You've never seen someone do that, right? Probably pretty rare you've seen someone put a ball off a green into the water, right? Pretty rare. That's a rarity, right? Or they put it into a bunker or whatever. Well, Zalatoris wasn't hitting balls OB. He wasn't really hitting them in the water, and his bad shots weren't really that bad when the part of the game that has more variables, which is the long game, he wasn't succumbing to those. He wasn't losing, in air quotes, I guess, to those variables.
Yeah.
At times, maybe Cameron Young is because he's not as gifted as a ball striker. Okay, so he has to make up for it in other ways.
Yeah.
But that's why you see that's why someone like Will Zalatoris, he's able to constantly hang around because he's never making those critical scoring mistakes in his long game that will just kill around. You know, a double bogey from an OBT shot, or, you know, going for a par 5 and hitting it in the water, that stuff kills momentum and it can kill around. He didn't really do that when he was playing. And his weakness was literally on the greens, where there's the least amount of variables and the least amount of, I guess, ability to screw up. Your screw up on the green is generally going to be less than that off of the tee or into the green. So that's why he was ranked so much higher, because he's probably able to manage his game much better than most people because he's such an elite ball striker. That's why.
I'm actually shocked by what I'm reading, because I always thought Cameron Young was a really good putter. He technically is. He's top 100 overall in terms of
top 100. Not that good. Come on.
No. He's 64th over his career average of 2 years. This year, however, and this is actually the fascinating thing, so he's 65th in strokes gained total. He's 42nd on approach, 12th off the tee. His driving distance and accuracy actually rank in the top 15. Sorry, distance ranks top 15 is third, actually. Accuracy is what kills him. He's 123rd on the PGA Tour in driving accuracy. He's a terrible scrambler. He's 170th in scrambling, 165th from scrambling in the rough. His strokes gained putting, though, over the last 6 weeks has been 175th. So it was like really bad. So actually, I'm surprised by what I'm reading. I always thought he was a much better putter than he actually is. He is technically, because over his career, over his 2 years that he's been playing, he's been better. But as of late, it's been quite the cross. So an interesting point that I noticed. Stepping away, as we have to finish up this first part of the segment, and I have dinner in the air fryer going. Some FedEx Cup movement as we trudge towards the final major. We're kind of reaching the apex point of the season where we're running out of events. I think there's like 9 total left, I believe, at the end of this week. I could be wrong. Or 9 or 10. And following this week, of course, is the Open. We have, I think, 5 more full-on events. We have a couple of alternate events that guys will be playing in aside from the Open and the Socctish this week. And then it's the playoffs. So guys have to really kind of batten down. And, of course, the FedEx Cup changed from the top 125 to the top 70. So who is going to have to make that push? This past week, Alex Smalley, Brandon Todd, and Adam Schenk all finished top 10, jumping significant strides into the top 70 on the board, including also Sepp Straka. He moved up to 18th. This is third top 5 finish of the year. Adam Schenk to 19th, previously from 44th. He has 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts. Brandon Todd ranks 39th now after jumping from 67th. It's his first top 10 since the Wells Fargo back in May, and his 5th top 10 of the year. Fun fact, Brendan Todd is tied for the most top 10s, second most top 10s without a win this year, oddly enough. And Alex Smalley, the 43rd, finished 9th in 2 of his last 3 weeks. He has 4 top 10s overall. So some FedEx Cup movement. And of course, we'll talk more about this as we get probably post-Open, discussing the guys who need to get things going. I know Justin Thomas is currently on the outside looking in, as well as Shane Lowry outside of the top 70. We'll see if they can keep going this week at the Socctish and hopefully push their way through with the Open. But with that being said, we're going to take a short break. On the other side, we'll talk the Barbasol Championship. We'll talk a little bit about the Scottish Open this week, setting some expectations for the guys in the field this week and what it means as they play this week going into the following week at Royal Liverpool. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is the Get the Whole Podcast. Steve and Ben, right back at you in 1 minute. Welcome back in. It's Getting the Hole with Steve and Ben. We should start making a segment as I get home for the podcast. So for those of you who watch, I go to the gym, I come home, I shower, I start the show, and I'll either eat during the show or after the show. I think we should start doing a segment on what I have for dinner every night, because I just made the most bussin' chicken wings. ever. Almost flopped all over.
Yeah, that's what you're eating.
Yeah, chicken wings. I made them with a homemade marinade.
That's great. You want a cookie? Well, if anybody cares about what I had for dinner, I had steak, broccoli, and rice. That's called eating like a champ right there. And that's and of course, Steve said he said I just got shredded at the gym, which it was just too funny to me. I don't know the way you said it, the way it came across over text. Too good.
I tore my upper body to smithereens, and now here we are doing this show. Probably after this, I'm probably going to down a protein shake.
If anybody wants to tear their upper body to smithereens, it's Ben Pirro. That's for sure.
All right, Ben. That's cool too.
I am cool. Thank you.
So we're jumping over the pond over to the Open next week, and prior to that, we have the Scottish Open, a recently sanctioned PGA and DP World Tour event that's come onto the scene in a pretty big way as of late. A lot of players opting to skip out on this week's Barbasol Championship as opposed to going overseas. And what used to be an off week for some guys has now become a pretty staple event for the DP World Tour side. Guys traveled over last week, skipped out on Deere Run after having multiple elevated events, and of course the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Now they're getting ready for the Scottish, and I want to pose this question before we actually dig into the nitty-gritty of what's going to happen this week. So the fun part about not having to play this week on the PGA Tour is that the guys had the opportunity to go and take in some other fun sports, one of which was Wimbledon, happens to be this week. I want to ask you this. Who had the better outfit at Wimbledon? Ricky, JT, Jordan, or Tommy Fleetwood with that amazing hat?
Oh, it was Tommy Fleetwood all day. I mean, first of all, let me just all right, like Ricky, I don't know what he's doing with the mohawk right there. And look, everybody knows I love Ricky. I mean, Ricky's the man. I don't know what he's doing with that mohawk. He looks like a second grader that's showing up for like picture day and his mom did his hair for him. Justin Thomas, I don't know. I feel like the glass where the sunglasses are in his jacket, I guess like that's where he's supposed to put them. I don't know. Off to the side looks a little bit weird for me. And then Jordan Spieth looks like he just got out of like it just got off of like a super stressful day working on Wall Street. He's like his shirt's like all wrinkled. He's missing a tie.
Jordan Spieth is going to his senior prom in that outfit.
Yeah, and then Tommy Fleetwood just looks like. I mean, that guy. First of all, I didn't even recognize him. He looks like. You know who he kind of looks like right there?
Johnny Depp.
Blaine Gabbert.
That's a very random comparison that we just had.
I don't know why. He looks like the hair, the face, like the long hair, the facial hair, just like the swag. He looks like if you look at like because I follow Blaine Gabbert on Instagram. He has first of all, he actually has some really good captions. He's really good. He looks just like Blaine Gabbert. It's actually kind of funny. Yeah,
I gotta say, I don't like how Ricky and JT are sporting the 3-piece suit. I don't know if you picked up on that. Not a fan of the 3-piece suit.
I don't even know what a 3-piece suit is, dude.
So the 3-piece has the vest component too. So you can kind of see it like up close there.
I feel like that's very English though. If they're trying, it's kind of
maybe, but like first of all, I'm not a fan of the 3-piece suit. I'm also not a fan of how Ricky's wearing basically the beige tie with the beige suit. I'm more of a navy guy personally. I also just love.
I have a navy suit. Yeah.
I also just love like Fleetwood's like combination, like the blue and white Oxford style shirt with the blue tie is just perfect. And I'm a sucker for a nice fedora and long hair. Like to me, that's just like elite. But JT's shirt,
glasses add major bonus points, though. You know,
he kind of has the Iron Man glasses. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know what here's the best way to describe it. It's like the three guys on the left kind of look like they're really trying hard to fit in, and then the guy on the right is just like, "Yeah, I'm here. What's up?"
I mean,
That's kind of like what it is.
it also helps that they're at Wimbledon, and the guy on the right is the Englishman, and the three guys on the left are the three frat bros from America.
Yeah.
So like when you want to weigh that, I mean, I guess like it makes sense. But yeah, just wanted to throw that on out there. I thought that like the whole thing was hilarious. And there was a video. It was JT and Speed. They're watching, and they're like, and the caption was when the edibles kick in. Thought it was quite funny. Yeah, funny jokes. All right, so
got the house down with that one. Moving on.
Segues are weird. So this week at the Scottish Open, I want to ask this. I've posed a lot of these questions to you as coming from the pro golfer standpoint of how fatigue and how travel and how all these different things kind of play a factor into how you play. My question is to set expectations for an event like the Scottish Open. 8 of the top 10 golfers in the world are playing this week. I believe it's 35 of the top 50. It's essentially realistically an elevated event almost in terms of the actual the kind of star power that will be playing this week. It's largely European, but many of the top Americans are in fact in the field. Set the expectations for us. What is it like having to play an event like this the week prior to the Open? Are we going to see guys being not particularly jet lagged because they've already been here for probably a week for the most part, kind of settling in to the conditions, but transitioning over from what they're used to playing, at least in America, the typical golf courses here, as opposed to the link style, on top of the fact that are they going to give it their all, knowing that they're going to go and play the Open? At that point, would they not even play? Like, why are they playing this event if they wouldn't give it their all? What's your opinion here on that idea?
All right, look, everybody's going to give it their all every single week. Like I have a saying, like, because people will ask me, like, "Oh, do you really think you can win this week?" I'm like, if I didn't think I could win, I probably shouldn't be playing, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're being honest, right? So the reason why guys are playing is because these conditions are so different from what we see in the States. Even here on, like, say, the east end of Long Island, or like if you go to Chambers Bay, or like try to play like link style golf, it's always going to be different over there. The weather is so unpredictable. The strength of wind, the firmness of the course, the terrain, all of that is so different. So in my mind, let me put it this way. What I would do if I was going over there is I would get to the Scottish Open. Number one, I would play in the Scottish Open so I could get adjusted to the time, the temperature, the conditions, stuff like that. Because trust me, when it changes by 20 degrees and it's windy, that is a big difference for sure. On top of that, though, your bag, the equipment that you use, albeit, yes, you'll be with the same company, you might have to put different clubs in the bag. You might have to make adjustments with the lofts and the lies as well. Not so much with the lie angles, but the lofts. You might have to put in, a 1-iron, which you probably wouldn't use in the States. You might take for someone who uses a hybrid in the United States, they're probably going to put like a 2 or 3-iron in the bag. That's pretty different. They might, instead of, having a whippier tip for their 3-wood shaft, they might go with like a stiffer shaft to kind of keep the ball flight down over in the UK because of the conditions, because of the wind keeps everything, the lower ball flight, more penetrating, keeps the ball out of the wind. If I would be looking into all of that prior to even getting to the Open site, to the major championship site, that way I'm already making adjustments and I don't have to make those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday prior to teeing off at an actual major, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
That's what I would do. I'm sure these guys aren't dummies, so I'm sure that's also what they're doing. And look, there are still going to be tweaks to be made because, courses might play a little bit different, they might from from the Scottish Open to the Open Championship site.
Mhm.
But they won't be as drastic because they would have already been there for about a week and a half or so practicing and getting used to it and getting used to the new equipment. That's what's most important. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point, is the idea of having to make the adjustments. And I think the field kind of speaks for itself. It's a relatively young field overall. If you look at the odds board that's and the field list that's come out, Scheffler, McIlroy is kind of the only relatively like older guy, if you can kind of say that, in the field this week. Probably just trying to shake off some jitters from the past few weeks. Cantlay, Schauffele, Fowler, Hovland, Fitzpatrick, Spieth, Fleetwood, Hatton. A lot of these guys, for the most part, at least the Europeans that are playing, coming back and just want to kind of get back in the swing of what it's like to be in Europe. I feel like Tommy Fleetwood says he played this event every single year, whether or not there was a major the following week, just because he loves playing back in England, Scotland, Wales, wherever the event's being held. Justin Thomas, Justin Rose is also one of the older guys on the beaten path here. That like I'm noticing a trend where like the John Rahms of the world aren't playing because they're already in such great form. Scotty's playing so he can adjust to whatever he needs. He's still a young athlete. Justin Rose, a little bit older, knows what it's like to transition from the PGA Tour to the link style for 2 weeks, but also hasn't been on the hottest of hands. Ricky Fowler, it's the first time he's going to be in Europe in 3 years. So when you weigh the brevity of that, all of a sudden it's like, okay, you kind of have to play these events. Hovland's young, Fitzpatrick's young, Spieth's still working out his kinks as well. Fleetwood's obviously knowing his reasons. So we know what the field is like. We know what the expectations are. We therefore go into the idea of how much is the link style going to change for these guys, particularly as we look at the market and who we're going to be betting on and interested in. We'll talk more about it on the other side with our beer money picks. However, I want to get your opinion here. Do we expect guys to play, at least the Americans, the guys or the PGA Tour players who have played on tour over the last 3 or 4 weeks in America, and not the DP World Tour guys who have been playing in the European climate for the last 6 months? Do we expect lower scores from them? Do we expect pretty standard to what they usually shoot? Is a guy like a Victor Hovland, who's been playing on the PGA Tour and has not necessarily been in Europe at all over the last few months, going to still shoot 18 under, 19 under?
To be honest, I don't know anything about the course that they're playing, so I can't tell you what they would shoot. But these are professional golfers we're talking about. The PGA Tour is still the highest level, maybe not the best anymore, but it's the highest level professional golf tour you can play on. They're the best in the world. They're going to be just fine. These guys are professionals. They have the best people working with them. They have the best instructors, trainers, dietitians, club repair guys. They have the best of everything. Mm-hmm. They will be just fine. Yes, there always is a little bit of an adjustment. It really, honestly, when you go over to Scotland or Ireland, anywhere like in the UK, it really just depends on like luck of the draw. And really, it's actually that way for any big event that you play. I mean, I've played New York State Opens where I'm just like, man, I got the good draw this week. Like, I teed off early the first day, and it was calm, and it was perfect, and it was windy in the afternoon, and then they flipped the tee times, and it's like, man, it was raining that morning, and it was raining this morning, and I get to play, and it's not going to rain. It's going to be sunny. Mm-hmm. And I've had it go the other way with me. And a lot of it comes down to like luck of the draw. But these guys are the best in the world for a reason. They have the best team around them. You know, they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
So while the Scottish Open happens this week on the other side of the continent, or the world, I should say, over back in America, we have the Barbasol Championship, one of the more underappreciated events because no one really does play in it in terms of a star power factor. Yeah, right. Are you a Barbasol guy?
No, I use a Vino. The Vino. It's like
interesting.
It's like you know the moisturizer.
Yeah.
It's like a Vino shaving cream. Yeah.
Okay. I use Gillette. I'm more of a classic Gillette guy.
Well, I mean, I gotta keep this face up nice and beautiful. So
I actually recently, and no free ads here. I recently started using Gillette. They have a new line of, it's a beard moisturizer and a beard wash. So you use the wash in the shower, and then the moisturizer is for afterwards. It's been keeping my beard nice and luscious. It's also got some growth agents. Now, granted, I don't grow my beard out like very long. I'm not like KB, but if I was to, I would highly suggest that. Over at the Barbasol this week, we're over in Kentucky this week, over in Lexington. Give me a few names, guys, who you're looking out for. This event does actually matter in the long run. We kind of give a lot of flack to these events that are these secondary events, and then following next week at the Barracuda too. These events do carry PGA Tour exemptions. They carry cards. Like, there's a lot of different fun little things here that do matter for the guys that are in the field this week. And of course, they also carry major implications. The winner of this week will be playing in next year's A, Century Tournament of Champions, B, the players, and will possibly also carry some major exemptions depending on how they finish in the FedEx Cup standings. So who are a couple of names that you're looking out for this week at the Barbasol as we give a little bit of love to the folks out in Kentucky this week?
honestly, like I was I was looking at some of the. I'm currently looking. Our good friend Grayson. Well, actually, he's not really my friend, but your good friend Grayson Murray's playing.
Yeah, that rat bastard.
A good old Xavier alum is playing. Wes Homan, he's playing. Congratulations on getting into the tournament, Wes. I didn't even know he was still playing, but he is. We love our alums at Xavier. Honestly, though, it's really not the sexiest looking field
by any means. When Kevin Streelman is highest on the board.
Look, I mean, we got some good names like Kevin Chappell, if you could pronounce his name right, Steven. Akshay Bhatia. I mean, that kid's a stud. He is really good. He's really good. Derek Lamley, I've competed against him in Moonlight, and Florida Pro Tour events. He's a good player, one on tour. Wesley Bryan, he's a tour winner. Honestly, I'm looking at these names and I'm just like, wow, this is like that NBA team that signs all those guys that were 2018 All-Stars, and then 5 years later they're all past their prime. Like, it's a lot of that. It's a lot
like the Pistons.
It's kind of like the Lakers when they had Westbrook and Melo on the court.
If I had to compare them to anybody, it'd be like the Pistons. Like, they have Cade Cunningham is like Akshay, like young guy, good, really good player. Yeah. And then it's just a bunch of like old heads. Kevin Streelman, Lucas Glover's I think 22 events this year. He's missed like 10 cuts. Here we go. This is a fun one. One of my favorite players, the only player on the PGA Tour that was once previously sponsored by Jewel Pods. You know who it is?
Kiradech Abhibanrat.
There you go. He's plus 5,000 this week. No, but some actually decent names: Patton Kiesire, Troy Merritt in the field, Chad Ramey. No, it's Kiesire.
Pronunciation of names.
It's Kiesire.
No, it's Kiesire.
No, it's Kiesire. I'm telling you right now.
Not. No, it's not. Read a book.
All right. I'll read a. Peter Malnati, Scott Piercy, Vincent Whaley's in the field. Harry Higgs is another name that stands out. Austin Smotherman has made a decent name for himself coming up from the KFT. Jonas Blixt had the leading first round of the John Deere Classic. Doc Redman, who has really good hair. I'll give him a lot of credit. Trying to find some guys down on the super low on the board. Matthias Schwab is a fun one. Who else we got? Ryan Armour, Hank Lebiota. All right, so there's some decent names. We're not going to do beer money for this, but I'll at least give you 3 picks that I have this week. Call it a shock. Taylor Pendrith, the betting favorite. That's my obvious pick to play here. Kevin Streelman, third on the board at 25-1. I like him a lot. And I'm actually really, really interested in Troy Merritt at 40-1 this week. He's had some really good success over the last 5 or 6 weeks, and he had a couple of deep runs in some of those other alternate events earlier this year, so I really like Merritt this week. If we're going to go for a super far back play, I'm going to go with the Eagle fan and a fan favorite of the pod, Harry Higgs. He's 60-1. Anybody that you got?
All right, so people to watch out for. I really do think Akshay Bhatti is going to win this week. I really do. He's
a stud.
That kid's a stud. And first of all, the balls on that kid to be like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to turn pro. Like, a lot of people have tried to do that and have failed spectacularly. And he hasn't, and he didn't. I mean, that kid's a stud. He's a lot of fun to watch. And has like a really likable, like fun personality. Big fan of him. I truly believe. I know we're not doing beer money, but I do think he's going to win this week. Oh man. I'm going to go with. You know what? Keep an eye on Wesley Bryan. Wesley Bryan. I've met his brother before, George. They played college golf together for, I think, at least 1 year at University of South Carolina. He kind of burst onto the scene, I believe it was in 2017, and injuries kind of derailed his career. Very likable guy, though. He used to work with Mike Bender. I don't believe he does anymore, but there's a reason why they call him Wedgley. He's fantastic with the wedges. He's been driving it a lot better. Since last year, he's been driving it far better. I really do think he's due for a breakthrough week this week. Just a gut feeling. And Jesus. Kevin Streelman. I'm a sucker for good golf swings. Everybody knows that. He loves Ben Hogan. He loves Ben Hogan. I love Ben Hogan. Kevin Streelman.
I love you, Ben.
I wish I could say the same about you, dude.
Welcome back in, folks. Time for some beer money brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. All of the great tastes of a light beer, all packed into even less calories than your average Bud Light. Kenwood Beer, go find them online at kenwoodbeer.com. Look them up on the candy tracker. You can find them at your local Whole Foods and wherever they do sell the candies. Must be 21 years or older to consume. And with that, we jump right into our beer money plays this week for the Scottish Open. And we begin with the top 20. Benjamin, all you.
No, you go first, but I always start first.
You want me to go first? Wow, this is really
Well, no, because like I always go first, so it's. I mean, I change it up a little bit, you know, and also I don't even really know who's playing in the field, so I kind of want to look.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. All right, so my top 20 for this week. I'm going to run with Tyrrell Hatton. He only has one missed cut this year. He has 6 top 10 finishes to his name at this point. He has not played since the U.S. Open. However, I do think he will perform well. He always plays really well in Europe. He has 3 top 11 finishes at the Open. He's played multiple times and has contended every year at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, which is also played in Scotland. He has not been at his best at this particular event. However, I do think that this is a good turning point and a get-right week for Hatton. Native Englishman can get back into the swing of things and go out for a strong Open at Liverpool. Which, by the way, not sure if you knew this, Tyrrell Hatton is a big Liverpool fan. So he's been in Liverpool the entire week and just traveling over to the golf course over the last couple of days to get things ready. So I'm all in on Tyrrell Hatton this week for top 20.
It's a good pick. I'm going to go with someone, probably the betting odds might be a little bit similar. Min Woo Lee. I'm going to go for my top 20. As always, Stucker. That kid's got a good swing. I have no idea how old he is. He looks like
he's young.
Yeah, he looks really young. He looks younger than us for sure.
He is actually.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I mean, beautiful golf swing. Seems like he's just a nice, likable guy. I'd say top 20. I think he's gonna have a really good week this week for sure. It's like the best way I can describe someone like him, for how good his swing is, you just never really feel like he's ever going to get in trouble, which is kind of the key in golf in general, but especially links golf, because the variables are just multiplied because of the conditions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love Min Woo Lee. I'm actually going to take him for a top 10 this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's been like quietly having an incredible season. By the way, when's your birthday?
April 23rd. What are you getting me?
Nothing. But Min Woo Lee was born July 27th of '98, so you're a little bit old. You're a little bit older than he is.
I'm not getting anything. You're such a jerk.
I
don't love you. Is it because I said I didn't love you?
I'll get you like a sleeve of like noodles. How about that? No? I bet. Min Woo Lee this year has, like quietly a very, very strong season. His recent results, he has 3 top 10s this year. He's running up the board on the official World Cup rankings every single year, and it's been pretty staggering. Over the last 4 weeks, he finished 18th at the PGA, 40th at the Schwab, and back-to-back top 10s at the U.S. Open and the Travelers. He had a bit of a snafu where he missed 3 straight cuts at the Masters, the Heritage, and then the Byron Nelson. But even prior to that, finished tied for 6th at the Players. He's always like right there at the end of the weekend, and like you see it a lot in the scoring averages. He's averaging about a 66 or 66 and a half, 67 going in to the weekend. So like per round basis, so like he's doing quite well. It's really the 3rd and the 4th rounds really where it's kind of bit him. Scoring average is around 70. So at that point, when guys are consistently shooting 60s every round and he's kind of falling off a little bit, kind of hits a little bit of a snag. But I think a top 10 is a solid play here for a guy like Min Woo Lee. He spent a lot of his early career playing the European Tour, so I think it really does help Lee this week. Your top 10 pick.
My top 10 pick. I'm going to go. I feel weird saying that this is a long shot, but my gut kind of tells me it is Justin Thomas for top 10. He just really hasn't been firing on all cylinders this year, and I feel like this is kind of a get-right week for him. Week before a major. He's a major winner. We know he can get really hot out of nowhere, really fast. I think this is a get-right week for him for sure. I'm going to go JT for a top 10.
It's funny because we're finally getting to the point where Justin Thomas is like plus 400 for a top 10, and it's like,
yeah,
play it. Like,
well, right here it said, I'm looking at obviously no free ads or whatever, but for top 15 and ties, he's plus 4,000.
Yeah, like crazy.
Isn't that kind of crazy? So I mean, I feel like it's like top 10. Yeah, I think it's a good.
Yeah,
one.
certainly a play there. Top 5 this week. This is really kind of where things get interesting because there's a lot of value deep down the odds board, and it's almost like, why would I go with the better players to finish top 20 and 10 and go with like a long shot top 5, right? But there's something that just like screams Adam Scott to me that I don't seem to know what it is. He always plays well in Europe, of course, native Australian, played a lot on the European Tour prior to moving over to the PGA Tour. Again, just something that I really love about a guy like Adam Scott. Again, want to talk nice swings. This is the show of nice swings that we're betting on this week. There's just something so fluid about him, and when he's in Europe, he's an average leaderboard score of 12th. Average for his career. This guy's been playing for 16 years. That's something to be very interested in. I love Adam Scott here for a top 5 play. Who you got?
All right, you think that's a long shot? Get ready for this. I'm gonna go.
Everyone, let's hear it.
Kurt Kitayama. I'm gonna go with him for a top 5. According to golf.com, he is their long shot bet. He has plus 8,000 odds, I believe, of winning. So
yeah.
A little lower for a top 5, but Kurt Kitayama, I'm going to go top 5. Let's go, buddy. Let's get this done. Make some money this
Kitayama
week.
sitting at a strong 18-1. It's a
That's nuts.
It's a great number. Gimme played this week. I've played it, I think, every single year that I've been on this podcast, and I've covered the Scottish Open. I have played this bet, and it has always hit. There's one predominant Scot in the field who I always pick in this spot. Top 10, Robert McIntyre, plus 750.
I remember. Yeah.
Fucking love this kid. Like he is the funniest 27-year-old you ever met in your entire life. Like the guy just tells jokes to his caddy, like while he's putting. He gives no fucks, and he loves golf, and he's a great putter, and he loves link style golf. I like Robbie McIntyre. Top 10 this week at plus 750. Who are you taking?
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Oh man. I'm gonna go Matt Fitzpatrick, top 5.
Okay. Ooh, what's a big play? I'll go. All right. Well, let's chat winners. I'm kind of like at a loss because I really don't know who to take. However, there is one guy who stood out to me when I was first like opening up the sports book, because he's all the way down the board at, let's see where exactly he is. So he's plus 3,000, which isn't really like a long shot play. He's like just in front of Max Homa, JT, Minwoo Lee, and Wyndham Clark. I bought him up when we were talking about the FedEx Cup standings. He's a little bit on the outside looking in. He needs some good performances to get into the top 70. It won't take a lot because he is a very capable golfer. But he has, I believe, it's a streak of like 17 straight top 25s in majors. And the week he plays prior to those majors, he's averaging a 15th placement. I like Shane Lowry this week. Again, someone from the Isles, from relatively close, from Ireland. Goes to Scotland, always plays well at the Open. His only major is a Claret Jug, so I think it makes sense that when he comes home to Europe, he feels more at home and more at ease. He's been living with Mama for the last week. He's been enjoying the home cooking. I think a win here at the Scottish is a great get-right week. Go to the Open and dominate once again. I like Shane Lowry at plus 3,000. Who are you taking to win this week?
It's a tough one. I want someone with a little bit more of a penetrating ball flight. I'm going to go with Xander Schauffele. I think his game fits the – just chowing down over there. What did I say? Xander Schauffele. I want someone with more of a penetrating ball flight. I feel like he has that. I feel like his game suits the link style pretty well. Xander Schauffele. He's going to win this week. Take it to
I like it.
And I'm going to be right. Steven's going to be wrong. And that's going to be it.
Before we get going, will the winner of the Open be a first-time major winner?
Why are you asking me this week? That's a next week question.
I'm just curious because, look, when you think about it, like Patrick Cantlay needs a major, Xander Schauffele needs a major. The last, not the last two. Two of the last 3 Open winners were first-time winners. I don't know. It's a thought.
I'm going to answer that next week. I'll answer that next week.
All right, sure. I don't know either, so I thought I was.
There you go.
I thought I'd pose the question. Final thoughts before we hit the road. What do you got?
Final thoughts,
if anything.
Nothing really. Another great episode. Happy to have you back. Nice to see that you sobered up after partying hard for a couple days. Celebrating our beautiful country. Yeah, I still believe you're a lightweight. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Judgment-free zone, just like Planet Fitness, where we both work out.
I actually go to LA now. But.
You're fancy. Okay.
No, it's because my girlfriend gets it free through work, and she added me on the account, so I go for free.
Oh, well, when am I gonna
benefits?
When am I gonna join?
You want to come?
Yeah, I want to come.
Come on out. We'll go. We'll go lift.
We'll go to the gym. Get a nice arm farm pump in, and then we'll go to a Mets game.
I actually may get tickets next week to the White Sox game if you want to go. We'll see.
What day? Might be out of
I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. My final thought here, in talking about celebrating our country, I had a realization that, and this for all of you people who are going to say that I am unpatriotic for saying this, I don't really care. I don't give a toot. I don't like the Star Spangled Banner. I really do think that our national anthem should be America the Beautiful or God Bless America. Honestly, I think those two songs are so much more patriotic, in my opinion, and I think they simply have a better ring to it too. So that's my final thought. The banner's good, but there's something about America the Beautiful that just like gets you going.
I've had enough of you.
I've had enough of you.
I've had enough of you. Stop recording.
It isn't a bad take. I have plenty of friends who actually agree with that.
With
that being said,
you don't have any friends.
I'm not going to pan off to the camera like it's The Office. Enjoy the Scottish Open. We'll see you next week for the Open Championship at Royal Liverpool. For Ben Pirro, I'm Stephen McAvoy. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time, and remember, get in the hole!